Hello viewers, this week's Daily Race A gives us a very interesting combination. This is the Rallycross cars, so Group B around Maggiore. So Rallycross on a tarmac circuit. This is only the second time this combination has ever happened. So let's jump straight in and see how it goes. As I head in towards turn 1, this combo pretty much was confirmed to be one that would be very angry, aggressive, and quite a lot of contact would be occurring. So starting off here, third on the grid, already at the inside of P2, there was a tiny bit of contact on that first corner, but there's about to be a lot more contact at the next corner, as you can see, with a dive bomb from another millennium, another postcode coming flying in, and we're on the receiving end of it, unfortunately. So I'm driving the Subaru WRX, and this is an interesting track for this kind of car to be raced around, using the Comfort Soft tyre, which provides an ample amount of grip on a normal road race. But in this type of car, quite a powerful car actually, it is a little bit slidey. So it makes for an interesting dynamic as we move our way back to third place, which is where we started. Looking at the rear end of Paul K _ 042, and as we go into the braking zone here, a bit of a late move I would say. I have punted him off into the Shadow Realm, so there is that. We're going to move up into P2 as a result of all of that debacle, and you can probably tell already we've only done a few laps, but it is certainly a very messy race, certainly when I'm involved as well. So the pack behind catching quite drastically after making a very big mistake into turn 1. It's quite difficult to get the rotation required around that first corner, and so going a little bit wide at turn 2 meant that the pack was actually right back on me once again in this intense battle for second place, as the Italian driver there goes up the inside with a 0.5 second penalty to boot. So we're going to have to stick on his rear end and try to re-overtake him once he has to serve that penalty. A little bit wide there. That's shameful level driving. As Paul K comes back from the dead, I punted him off a few laps ago, and here he is, he's back. A little bit of a tap there. We're going to stay behind him though, as now the Italian comes up to serve his penalty. I'm not sure I'm close enough here to capitalise on that, and so we're going to have to remain in fourth for the time being. The Italian not waiting around at all. Up the inside he goes with a big dive bomb, retaking the position, and this is what this kind of race really ends up being. With limited grip and limited overtaking opportunities, you do have to really be very aggressive to force any openings, and that's kind of true of all rallycross. Whether or not you're actually on dirt or on tarmac like this, then you still have to be aggressive no matter what. Turning into me there, Mr. Paul K. So we're going to just usher him wide for the second time in the race, showing him and introducing him to the grass, as now we get a nice exit here up against the Italian side by side, then into the braking zone of turn 2. So we're going to try and hit our mark at this point, and we get the job done. Up the inside we go. Remaining now in second is going to be quite tricky because, as I say, well, you've got to be really incredibly lucky, I would say, and hopefully the car behind doesn't punt you wide like that. So back down to third. Lots of shuffling of the order. The guy in the lead has driven a very collected race, and they have driven away quite comfortably here. In fact, they have a 7-second lead as we go flying up the inside in retaliation at turn number 1. Big dive bomb. Unfortunately, I did ignore the track limits, so we're going to have to surrender half a second of our time on the next time of asking. So next time of asking is lap 8 of 8, so we don't have much time here to try to get this right. Braking a little bit late there for turn 2 once again. That seems to be my Achilles heel, along with all of the other corners on the track. And here into the final corner, I mean, it's really hard to defend that one, especially if you don't have the handbrake mapped, which really gives you some nice juicy rotation in this rally car. And it really is the name of the game in terms of getting a quick lap time. You do have to get the car rotated Down the hill then, in towards turn 1 for the final time. The Italian there taking a nice narrow line, quite hard to dive up the inside as a result. And with this penalty, it looks like I'm going to surrender another position here to Paul Kay, who, to be fair to him, has been smashed about, but he's come back into the race with great vigour here to give me a fair battle here to the end. Nice little switcheroo there, diving underneath. Can we get this position on the final lap? Up the inside into the hairpin, the downhill hairpin. Tricky to get right. We're just going to run him wide and move back into third, which is where we started the race. So a very eventful first time out here. As we round out the final corner, it is going to be a third place. Okay guys, we're going to log in to Alex Albon and go from the back. See how this goes. I've also mapped the handbrake because I think this is actually worth quite a lot of time on this combination. Alright guys, here we go. Back of the grid. 11th out of 11. This is surely going to be very messy. Let's do it. Okay, here we go guys. 11th on the grid, right at the back. We are surely about to witness all manner of carnage and chaos. Down at turn 1. Now on the Alex Albon account. And all the carnage and chaos is going to come from me. As we brake a little bit too late there, the German is going to get bundled wide. And you know what? I'm going to slow down here. And we're just going to let them go once again. We're going to gain the positions as nicely and positively as possible. With no punting, if that can be done. Which is unlikely on this type of race. Anyway, heading towards the downhill hairpin. And surely all manner of hell is going to break loose down here. As, well, that's exactly what's going to happen. Quite a few people getting bundled wide. We're going to go really narrow. Someone into the wall. I don't know if you saw that. And now we're 3 abreast here. It really is a mess. The Vicious, the South African, getting bundled wide. Horrible move by me. And I am going to have to let him go. But ideally I'm going to have to wait a little bit because he's got about 58 cars right on his tail. And I'm going to lose many positions if I do it right now. So I've banked that. For the time being, we're going to let him go when the time is a bit better than it is right now. Hopefully the race can settle down up into P6 at the moment. And having started 11th, that is not a bad return. Can we get the undercut here? Trying to really get that rotation so that you can get the power on the exit of the corner. Looking down the outside here, not the best place to be. And look at that handbrake action. Really mapping that handbrake does help a lot. To really get the back end around on the sharper corners. Up now behind the Ken Block liveried Ford Focus. Great car for this is the Ford Focus, and that incidentally is the car I am driving as well. It seemed to be a car which had much better rotation, maybe not the best top speed, but it did turn quite nicely in the corners. And now we can finally let Levicious go back through after bundling him wide at the end of lap 1. Not long before he actually dives up the inside of the Brit in a savage dive bomb. Beautiful move. I mean, the dive bombs really are coming out today. And this epitomises Rallycross really, as these guys all go wide. Pretty much everyone there went wide. As we gain 2 positions in one corner, side by side now. Hopefully we can just get this position. Yes, we can. Back to 5th. It really is all over the place. It's incredibly hard to keep track of what is going on exactly. But these 2 guys go in here with a horrible line. Double overtake into turn number 1. Beautiful stuff. And we're going to move up into 3rd place. 11th to 3rd. The gaps are quite big here. For myself to 2nd and then up to 1st with a bit of a penalty there. But the driver behind gives us a bit of clear air to be able to pull away. So this time, this kind of turned into a time trial session. I can now just focus on my lap time, just really trying to perfect that line through that final corner. And now that the race had kind of settled down, and as we round out this lap, it's going to be a decent lap here. You need to be in the high 48s, if not low 49s, and we eventually again finish 3rd. I reckon if I put it on pole, I can give that person in the lead a good race. But I'm just flying through too many people. Okay, so I decided I need to qualify a little bit higher up, and so we need to set a qualifying lap time. First time round there, 48.8. Anything in the 48s I think is a good lap time. Top times in the world dip into the 47s. And this was really about getting the rotation, as we mentioned earlier, trying to get that rotation through the corner entry to then power out on the corner exit. So you see here, just trying to get it, didn't quite get enough of it, so the Ghost actually gets a much better exit. But here is my best lap of the time trial session. So you see it going wide, really getting that back end round so that you can really drive off in a straighter line and move away from the Ghost, as you can see. So that was kind of what you need to do. Obviously there is more time in it, but that's a general principle of how you need to tackle this. Braking just before the beginning of the red and white curb on the right hand side, which is quite tricky to see. It can be quite tricky to see, especially during sunset hours on this game. Lots of light flickering into your face, and it makes it very difficult to see. Getting the rotation nicely off the hairpin, shifting up gears quite early to make sure we don't get too much wheel spin, really getting over the track limits there. And that's going to be a solid lap. It's going to be a 48.4, which is good enough for 43rd in the world. Okay guys, that lap was good, but only good enough for 3rd, so we're going to have to lunge the crap out of the top 2. So it was a good lap time, but not good enough to move me anywhere up the grid. Starting 3rd once again, so we seem to be glued to this position. Let's see if we can at least go one better. Really trying to get up the inside of the pole sitter there. More than aware of that positioning, just putting their car on the inside. 3 abreast now, down the back straight, and we're going to try and get this move done. Car in the middle there, the WRX. Late on the brakes. Can we get the double move? Not quite. We've run slightly narrow, but one position is going to be gained, so we'll take that for the time being. Up into 2nd place. Looking up the inside here, you really have to protect that inside if you can. And I've been pushed from behind, so there's not much I could do about that. I'm going to take the lead. It's unfortunate for the finish driver there, but it's not really my fault if I'm going to get pushed from behind. So I'm just going to take it. Sometimes those things happen. So plenty of contact. That's definitely going to always be a given in a rallycross race, as Foxy Moxy now goes around the outside. And to be fair, I was a little bit too nice there. Gave a bit too much space. If I had the inside, I should have commanded the corner a bit better. Now I have to go defensive into the 2nd corner to protect myself from behind. A couple of guys there getting very close. And I have to try to ideally pull away and, well, obviously go for the lead. That's kind of the idea, really, isn't it? So we're going to try and do that. See if we can. Foxy there with an average run through the hairpin, so we're definitely going to gain on this final sector of lap number 2. Just edging away here from the Italian behind, down in towards turn number 1. Late on the brake, trying to nip up the inside. Didn't really throw them off their line too much. Not quite able to get it done. But can we get into the slipstream here? And perhaps get the move done at the top of the hill. Not quite close enough. It's going to be a bit of a dive bomb from this far back. Having a look. Gonna have a look anyway. Perhaps could have been a bit later on the brakes. But just trying to put my car there. Show the nose up the inside. Give them something to think about. Down the hill we go. Going a little bit wider this time around. Look at the handbrake action there. Beautiful stuff. Bit of wheel spin on the exit. Kind of usual for these kind of cars when you watch Rallycross or even Ken Block's Gymkhana. Lots of 4-wheel sliding out of the corners. Trying to gather some traction to work with on the exit of the corners. Through turn number 1. Nicely over the curb there. Getting a nice run on the exit. They're actually going to drift slightly wide here. So up the inside we go. Going to capitalise fully on this mistake and move back into the lead of the race. So a good little battle here between the 2 of us. And we're going to move up into 1st place. It's not going to be easy here to remain in this position. Foxy has been very quick all session. Down the hill we go. And unfortunately here we're going to receive a bit of contact. And I mean, you tell me, is that fine? I mean, in Rallycross it kind of is. Sometimes it is fine to give a bit of contact on the way into a corner. But I was trying to avoid that if I could. Having said that though, there was a fair amount of contact dished out by myself. And so it's all good fun, I suppose, in the end. It is only a video game and there are much bigger things in the world to worry about. You could argue that isn't the case. This actually could be the most important thing in the world right now. Now, Foxy was actually very quick and I wasn't really able to keep up. Well, I say that, I did have the fastest lap, but I just didn't have the consistency to really remain in this fight for P1. And so after 8 laps of racing, it was a good battle, but I was soundly beaten here. I'm going to bring it home in P2. So Daily Race A, an interesting combination, Rallycross cars Group B at Maggior. Always good to see some different combos. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.